Hi, good evening. So with me is my friend Ritesh Sarraf, and he's been contributing to the open source community for quite some time. I think it's a long time. So first, let me welcome Ritesh to OpenStack India Day 2015. Ritesh, would you like to introduce yourself to the community?
Thank you, Sajid. Yes, that was a splendid introduction. I'm Ritesh. I have been involved in free software for quite a while now. If I put a number to it, it's around 15, 16 years. I have seen Linux grow from being a play tool all the way to today where it's deployed in every enterprise and in every mission critical solution. We see Linux in mobile phones all the way to the cloud using OpenStack. A lot of storage solutions around it, innovative ones. So it's very exciting on what the future holds ahead for us.
Right. So Ritesh, you have been working closely in OpenStack for last few months or maybe a year. So I would like to understand how do you feel the challenges in OpenStack, and how does the DevOps plays a bigger role or the smaller role, whatever it is, in OpenStack deployments?
Let me first give you the view of what greatness OpenStack brings. Let's go back 10 years ago when things were not as enterprise ready as they are today. We had Linux. It started working in the enterprise. People started running Linux on mission critical servers. But one of the big challenges we had in data centers were we had hundreds of servers lying around, and we didn't have a unified way of managing those servers. OpenStack was the answer to this big problem, wherein you could take hundreds of physical nodes and make an inventory out of it and use native Linux technologies like virtualization. We use KVM and Zen, and for networking and storage we use other technologies, surface communicator. So it's a combination of all these things. OpenStack has made it possible for the entire Linux ecosystem as a whole to become much more ahead in terms of enterprise readiness. That is something we all are excited about, and what holds ahead for OpenStack in the coming years.
That's right, especially when you talk about the enterprise readiness, that actually creates a lot of excitement in the community, right, and in the industry as well in different verticals. So these days the discussions and the curiosity is more on the OpenStack plus service provider, where DevOps, the intelligence in the orchestration and the automation plays a bigger role in getting everything on place with the right set of application lifecycle management. So you have been working closely on the packaging stuff, and where you choose the heterogeneous open source, including OpenStack, and bundle it and then push it to the production, right? So how is that experience? How do you feel about it?
It's amazing. In fact, some of the work that we are doing currently, I'm very proud to be part of it. In fact, there are very handful of places where you could be involved in something like that right from scratch. Get to work on bleeding edge technology, take all components from different open source projects, funnel them together through your pipeline, ensure that it has good quality meeting enterprise requirements, and then after doing some testing and all, you then proceed it further to production. So the open source part of it is that OpenStack is developed in open, multiple projects, multiple vendors, multiple interested parties, universities included. Everyone is participating in it. But for an enterprise, at the end of the day, we want an enterprise-grade solution. That is where CI/CD or DevOps as an entity comes into picture, which picks up all the components from different open source projects and defines a process in place of integrating everything together, running it through a set of tests, and certifying it as ready for deployment in production. So I'm really proud to be one of the guys in implementing that process.
Yeah, the talk was pretty interesting, from DOM infrastructure to the intelligent clouds and the entire life cycle that you and Harish you spoke about in your talk. That was pretty amazing. I'm sure that people were really excited about it. And apart from this, I would just like to understand, how do you find this OpenStack India community?
It's an amazing community. I've been involved. I've given a couple of talks earlier too. We see a good balance of enterprise companies involved. Apart from that, we have also individual and group contributors. In fact, today in the hallway discussion, I met a couple of students from one of the reputed colleges out here, Pacific, and they were very keen on engaging more closely with upstream. Right now, they use OpenStack and they're developing new features in OpenStack in the college lab. And my immediate recommendation to them was to try to build up a front desk organization which can interact constantly with OpenStack, be in touch with them, and align the college's roadmap along with what the upstream project's roadmap is. So we have a very good blend of community members representing from India across the board.
So Ritesh, you have been mentoring few people from Google Summer of Code and few other open source projects as well. So I would like you to talk a little bit about your experience in mentorship, as well as something that you would like to talk about the packaging, which is your core skills.
Mentorship, it has improved and it's going a long way now. As Linux is gaining more momentum, more and more people are getting involved. Like I said, colleges and universities are getting involved, and as part of that, we see a lot of new generation, new students who are very keen in contributing that to OpenStack or open source products in general, and that is where some of us have come into picture through umbrellas like Google Summer of Code and other equivalent programs. In my current assignment, I have a student working with me on bringing package management to a newer level. It's not directly related to OpenStack, but that's one of the OpenStack could be one of the big consumers of benefiting from that product, because ultimately that project is focused on Debian, which will be inherited by Ubuntu, and OpenStack is a big contributor and consumer of Ubuntu. So eventually that's going to come in. Packaging, the second part of the question, packaging plays a very important role even today. Even though we have other new technologies coming in, containers and stuff, but with packaging we have built a good 20 plus years of experience on how to manage software. By getting more people involved into the entire process of how a source code is taken and built into a binary format, and what all dependencies it has, the software has. When we get people skilled in the packaging aspect of it, they have a better view and a better understanding of how this small program integrates into the bigger ecosystem of multiple programs talking to each other. So in my view, packaging plays a very important role, and even in OpenStack, we emphasize that a lot. All the distributions that are part of OpenStack emphasize a lot of it.
Great. So Ritesh, I would like to know something more, about the Debian conference, where you are going to talk about the OpenStack and Debian, right? So can you just give us a little more insight about what you are going to cover in the DevConf, which is happening in, I guess, Heidelberg?
Yes.
Next week?
So in fact, cloud is a very big topic that is going to be out there for DevConf this year. There are around 20-25 talks tagged under cloud, which will be available throughout the span of 1 week. There are contributors from a lot of different companies coming and talking about cloud, and it's going to be...
So basically it's about the Debian plus OpenStack?
Yes, so it's obviously for DevConf the focus is more on Debian as a distribution, and since there's a paradigm shift in how enterprises are deploying solutions, which is now moving into cloud, and Debian being a critical infrastructure in any enterprise solution, we see Debian gradually progressing into the cloud arena.
Great, that would be a very good combination. Anyway, for those who don't know Ritesh, Ritesh is also one of the few Debian developers from India, and it's always pleasure to have a deep level discussion on the technology, Debian and packaging. So you can definitely reach out to Ritesh, who has been very collaborative in terms of mentoring in open source community. So thank you very much, Ritesh, for your time. In fact, enjoy your day, and we'll talk often with this kind of podcast arrangement. Thanks.
Thank you, Sajid.